Hi, it's Nell, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do a mid-season pruning on my Bougainvillea. This is Bougainvillea Barber Karst. I want to show you how I do it so I can get more bloom for the rest of the season. Now this is my Bougainvillea that got hit by a little bit of a cold spell we had. I will leave the link to that blog down below, but as you can see, it has recovered beautifully, and it bloomed pretty much from, I want to say, about the end of February, early March, right through July. It was like a really big bloom, and now it's just sort of in between. It is setting a bloom again, but I'm a little late on pruning it. I should have done it maybe about 3 weeks ago. But you know, life happens. It's the end of August, and ideally I would have done it at the beginning of August because it was starting to cool a little bit here in Tucson. It's not in the hundreds anymore, it's in the 90s, so it's much better temperature for pruning. But I took a bad fall and I really hurt my bud, and then I broke a toe. And a few weeks ago, I got diagnosed with parasites, so I've been like, haven't been on my gardening game full time, but now I'm back at it. So you can do it at the end of July is a good time. Obviously, you're going to live in a temperate climate if you're doing this for more bloom for the rest of the season. This one will bloom probably through at least mid-November. I've been in this house for 2 years now, and I've gotten it into the overall shape I want, which is sort of a free form, a little bit open. It's gotten a little bit full, that's what I'm going to do, but I like it open form, and I don't want it too tall. I'm going to take down some of those tall branches. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm shaping, I'm thinning out a little bit. It's also come out a little bit because my garage door is right here, so I want to just take it back a bit and just make it look overall better, and also encourage this wonderful flowering that's going to come, because now that it's cooling a bit, it's going to be a more vibrant color. In the real heat, it's a little bit more of a faded red, but when the temperatures cool, when the temperatures cool into the 90s, at least we can get a little bit of this nice vibrant color going on. So I stand back like this and I look at the plant and I see where I want to concentrate. I want to concentrate over on the left hand side because it's smushing up against the garage too. And those parts that are a little bit more dense, I'm going to take a little bit of the height down. There's not a lot of funky growth anymore. Sometimes bougainvilleas will put up those big, crazy canes, and I only see one here. So the overall form isn't bad. I just need to shape it and encourage that bloom that seems to be coming on again pretty fast. Okay. Let's see, and I have my Delcos, which are my favorite pruners I've had forever. Yes, I know I can get a grip to replace the handle. People do comment on that. But, you know, I just haven't gotten around to that. And I sharpen my pruner with this fabulous tool. It's really easy. It's really light, easy to use. I will leave a link to both of these down below in case you want to check them out. So I'm just going to start in here and taking it back, and this one here is just sort of overlapping. I'm going to get the overlapping ones, and I'm taking whole branches back to a main branch at this round. When I go to do the final pruning, I will do some tipping in, but this is taking out branches. And yes, I am going to sacrifice a little bit of the color because there will be a lot of color coming on this plant anyway, so I can take out a few. of the ones that have blooms on them. So I'm just going to continue in here. This is very, very congested in here, so I'm going to work mainly in here, and I will zoom in, give you a close-up, see what it looks like now, and then you can see the after. Just so you can get an idea, it's areas like in here I want to thin out and take back, and the same thing with the middle part. So I'm just going to go ahead and start in on this, and I will show you my progress as I'm going along. Okay, so I'm done on the left-hand side. Thinned out. I took a little bit down on the top, not too much. I like a little bit of color. I just want to make sure that I can prune it easily, because if it gets too tall, then it gets too hard to prune. So that's manageable. So now it's time to move over to the right-hand side. And just to give you an idea, if you're really new to this, I'm going to take like this branch out completely, because it's way out too far. I'm going all the way back to this main branch here, and I'm just going to cut that right there. And that's basically what I'm doing. Now this is all kind of gloppy in here, so take off this, and that's what I'm going to go through and do to get this side to be relatively even with that side. So I am done with the right hand side, and it might look a little airy, but I like it this way. Also too, when I'm going to go back and start the tipping now, what that's going to do is it's going to force some of that inner growth to emerge, so it will get a little bit on the fuller side inside. But I am at the end of a dead-end street, so, and there's hardly anyone who ever turns around here, so I'm very private. I don't need it for that. I just like it for the color and sort of for the fountainy, umbrella-y shape it's taken on. So I'm going to give you a quick close-up of what I mean by tipping. And of course it's getting breezy because the dark clouds are coming. We might get a little rain. It's at the tail end of monsoon season. So this is tipping here. And even though some blooms will come along here, I'm going to go back to there and get that one. And let's see, are you able to see that this one? I will bring it down. This one has a lot of flowers yet to come on it, but I'm going to take it down to about here. And then there will be some more coming in there too. So that's what I'm going to do, is just go through and tip all these branches because I want to take them in a little bit. And I have tipped the ends of the branches. It didn't take too long at all. It's just something I like to do. You don't need to do it, but because this is right alongside my driveway, I like to keep it in a little bit, and the tipping does the trick there. So here you go. You can see it from this side now that it's done here. Oscar has come out to join me. Oh, he might be wandering away for a bit to check out the pile, but this is about what I've gotten so far. I just need to do a little bit on the inside. On the inside of the patio. That's not too bad. So anyway, I will show it to you right now rather than show you the pile. So here we are on the inside. This side is going to be a breeze compared to the other side. I'll get to tip some of those upper branches from this side, but just going to take a little bit, thin a little bit on the right hand side a little bit, and a little bit on the left, and just take it back just a little bit. That's it. So this side is all done. Just took a little bit out. This one wasn't too bad. And when you're going back to do the tipping, if you do that, you always find more branches to take out, which I did. I've had a couple questions, actually a few questions about bougainvilleas not blooming, and one I remember in particular was I brought my bougainvillea home and it was blooming and now it's not blooming. And there are a few reasons that could cause this, but a very likely reason that I want to go into here is that it depends on the type of Bougainvillea. Some varieties flower more than others. For instance, this is Barberkarst. It flowers a lot. This is the rest time for this one. My other 3 Bougainvilleas are pretty green right now. They're just putting out some blooms. They don't bloom nearly as much as this one does. Or it could also be they just need a rest. This one doesn't rest too much before it starts to bloom again, but the others, there are some that do just rest. It's taken them a lot of energy to bloom, so they need to go through a rest before they can put out another bloom. Oh my goodness, I had to go get the headband because between a little bit of wind and my head in this Bougainvillea, hair was like a rat's nest. Anyway, this is the finished product. Said aired out, taken in, tipped to encourage more bloom because Bougainvillea blooms on new growth. So you want to encourage that new growth because that's where you're going to get the color, all this explosion of color. So probably in about a week or two, this Bougainvillea is going to be full of color. As always, there is a blog post to go along with this video with some more information in there, and I've done lots of posts and videos on Bougainvillea. I will leave our Bougainvillea category for you down below, along with the link to the post on this. So as I said, it's the end of August. I'll get a few more months of good bloom out of this, and then it intermittently blooms throughout the winter too, depending on how cold it is, how much bloom I get. But I love it because I see it when I drive in my driveway, and I also see it from my kitchen sliding glass window, and also from the patio. So this gives me a lot of color here in the desert in Tucson. So I hope you have found this video about pruning Bougainvillea mid-season, even though it was a few weeks late, to encourage more bloom, to be helpful. I have a lot more videos coming your way, so stay tuned for those. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. Now let's get out in the garden, into anybody's garden, and make our world a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.